Today we're going to talk about the RSI Smartcap after 1 year of use and abuse. Welcome back everyone. I hope you guys are all staying healthy and safe. Now over the past year I've received more questions and comments on this RSI Smartcap than all my other mods combined. You guys have sent a lot of questions through my Instagram page, also through YouTube. So now that I've had this truck for a year, I do want to give you guys a honest review, answer all you guys' questions that you've had, and also give you guys my pros and cons, especially now since I know that these caps are like 6 to 9 months back ordered, to see if it's worth for you guys to wait that long for this thing. Now before I get into the video, a quick disclaimer: these are all my personal opinions after using the cap for a full year. They are not the opinions of the brands I work with or the ones which I'm an affiliate for. Also, I do want to preface the video by reminding you guys that I do live in Utah, and over the past year we've had some extreme weather, from extreme heat, cold, rain, freezing rain, snow. So I think that's going to be really important to note before we get into the review. Also, for those guys that don't want to watch the whole video, I'll make sure to break the video down. So we're going to go over the frequently asked questions which I'm receiving. We'll go through the pros and cons, and then just my final thoughts about the cap and if I would do it again. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the questions. Got them all printed out right here. Let's see. So first question is, any issues with it coming loose or shifting while off-roading? And I can say absolutely not. This thing has been super stout in regards to that. So we haven't had any issues with it, even going like really hard on trails or in the desert and whatnot. So no problem with it at all. How much does it weigh? So with the 5-foot caps, they weigh 180 pounds, and the 6-foot caps are around 200 pounds. Okay, next question, and this is a really big one. Does the cap leak? How does it do in the rain? So initially I had a slight issue with the cap leaking, and that was my fault for not completely tightening the cap down. Once I torqued everything down, it was fine. However, as I mentioned, we've had some extreme weather, heat, cold, freezing rain. The cap does leak, and I would say that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves with it right now. That essentially, whatever I have in there will get wet. Where it's leaking from, as you guys know, the cap does have the, the positive pressure vent up top. It does leak through that, but the main leaking is coming through the window seals and also from the glass as well around here. Now, I think the reason for that is that over time with the heat, that the adhesive and the silicone just kind of started letting loose, so it is leaking in there. I'll try to throw up some videos of so you guys can see where the leaking is coming from. It might not be that big of a deal for you guys, but for me it's a pretty it's a pretty big deal, especially because that was one of the main reasons that I got the cap, to keep my stuff nice and dry and clean. I do also want to mention that the OEM bed cover that I had, it also leaked, so it really is what it is. Now I do know that I could get this service by RSI and getting some new rubber gaskets and seals coming in, but this is just where I'm at with it right now. So any issues with the locks and the hinges? So they've been great, no problems. And there's also a follow-up question, does one key work for all the locks? We'll answer that first. Yes, one key does work for all the locks, so you don't have to carry 6 different keys. Huge plus. The only issue I have had is with these guys when you open them. So I just washed my truck, and you can see that water will pool in here. Earlier in the year, we went on a trip, and we went through some freezing rain, and the locks actually froze up, so we couldn't really use them. And that until we thought them out. So that was kind of a bummer, but that's the only issue. Aside from that, they've been great. So I would imagine that RSI is probably going to do something to solve this. it's usually a pretty common issue. Are you able to open the tailgate from the inside? So if you're sleeping inside of it? And the short answer is no. That's, I would say, one of the big negatives about this cap is that you cannot open these guys from the inside. You potentially could if you do have this type of cap with the Leisure series. You could potentially, slide the window open if you have long arms and then let yourself out. However, if you are in there, you're pretty much stuck and you can't open the door, so that kind of sucks. I've gotten this question quite a bit, even though I don't have the load bars from RSI, I haven't been able to get them with the back orders. But the question is, will the load bars handle a 200-pound tent? I'm really not sure. I would imagine they probably would. However, the load bars per load bar, they have a 65 to 70-pound capacity, so I'm really not sure if you're going to have any bowing or whatnot with that, especially with people sleeping on it. So, sorry, I can't really answer that one. Have you had your dogs in the back with the windows? How do they do? So I've actually never kept my dog in the back. Harley is always in the cab with me. The main reason for that is in the summertime, it gets, as you guys know, in Utah, really hot out here in the desert. And even with the windows, I wouldn't keep my dog back there. He's a lot more comfortable in the cab. So with that being said, haven't had my dogs back there, and I would probably never put them in a cab. So, okay, next question. How do you like the glass side doors along with the little sliding window right here? For me, visually, I think they look cool. As far as function, there's absolutely no function for me. As far as I don't really use the sliding window. I use it maybe like once. And then, when you're driving, you can't really see out the side windows. One of the things that I have noticed, and again, I think this is because of the extreme heat, is that if you look at the panels on the windows, and I'll try to throw up some B-roll footage, it no longer aligns perfectly. But then again, neither does this whole entire side door on this side. The other side's fine. On the driver's side, passenger one is just not completely flush. I really don't know if that's due to the glass or whatnot. Also on the driver's side, the actual sliding door, it doesn't sit flush with the actual cap either. So, and I think I've used that sliding door on the other side like once, and I'll throw that up on the screen as well. So, if the Adventure Series would have been out when I bought this, I probably would have gotten that one instead. Again, windows are really tinted, so you can't really see through that well, and then especially at night, it's completely worthless. So. Now this question isn't specific to the RSI cap, it's more to, previously I had the Icon Add Leaf on here, and the question was, have I seen any sagging? Absolutely not. The Icon Add Leaf did really well with this, especially with it only being 180 pounds, no problem at all. Okay, and on to the next one. Is it okay to leave the windows open while driving? Not really sure which windows you're referring to. On the sides, yeah, you can open up your little sliding windows. If you want to, I guess you could open up your rear window. I have done it in the past when I've had really long loads. The windows don't do anything to the actual structure, as you guys can see. So you should theoretically be able to, keep these guys open, as this is your, I would say, your main frame right here. The next one is a Tacoma specific question. Is the bed rail system on the Tacoma, strong enough to hold the cap down? 100%. No problems with it at all. You're using 3 mounting points and it's been great. As I mentioned with the first question, there has been no issues with this guy like shifting or moving or anything like that. That's a really good one. How do you clean the cab side window on the outside of the cab? I really don't. I think I've cleaned it once with a power washer, and then I just haven't really done it since then. So you do have your window up front, which also, I guess goes into the next question, asking if you could open both. You can. So you could maybe reach your hand in to clean the window, but like I said, I've done it once with a power washer. So, all right, I like this one. Why did you buy the RSI cap over other brands like RLD or some fiberglass, caps? So essentially, I first saw the RSI Smartcap 2019 at SEMA. I thought, having all the different accessories, the table, the kitchen, the drawers, the proprietary, roof racks and all that was really killer, and I just figured it would be awesome to have them at Tacoma. Then I realized that there was really no Tacomas on the market that had them because it was, still a pre-ordered product. So I pre-ordered mine right there and then, you know, it goes into, I really want to be one of the first ones to have it on my truck, which, you know, it was. However, the first big, you know, positive, I really wanted to have like all those cool accessories. I mean, they've been back ordered, you know, for months, and I haven't even been able to get them, including, you know, the load bars to the roof rack. That's been a huge bummer to where I haven't really been able to throw my tent up on the cab to like really fully utilize it. Like, I know that there is, you know, other brands that, you know, carry, you know, solutions for it. So, you know, I usually try to stick with one brand, you know, to make everything work together, but that hasn't worked out. So what I actually have done, I do have a Rhino Rack set of, you know, crossbars on order, so we'll see if those work. You know, had to order a few different, you know, mounts for the rail system, see what will work. You know, as you know, most of these manufacturers have, you know, proprietary, you know, solutions, and I do know that, you know, Front Runner and other companies also have solutions. So as far as, you know, the load bars, those are coming in. They're Rhino Racks, so as soon as, you know, those come in, we'll throw the tent up, which kind of sucks as we're approaching, you know, end of November, December here in Utah. So now that's it for our frequently asked questions. Not all of them made it in here just because I don't want to make this video too long. These are essentially the ones that had, you know, they were asked multiple times. Next up, I do want to get into the pros and cons. All right, so let's get into our pros and our cons. First up, top of my list on the pros is the fact that this cap came in 2 boxes. I was able to assemble it by myself in like a few hours with the help of a buddy, throw it up on the truck. So, I mean, that's a huge plus, just being able to do it by myself, not having to go to a, you know, camper dealer or whatnot, have them do it. It's awesome. Also, on that note, the fact that I can pull this thing off in like 5 to 10 minutes is huge. So if I do have like a taller load, or I just want to switch up the look of the truck, or I'm not going to use it, comes off very easy. Also, if I ever sell it, it's going to be really easy to switch it over to another truck. As I mentioned earlier, one of the big reasons I got is, you know, the fact that it has potential for a lot of like functionality, but also it really looks awesome. It's really unique, and you don't really see many of them out on the road. Because of the stainless steel construction, it does, you know, protect your gear on the inside. Even though it does leak, it does protect it. So, I mean, it's got that going for it. Once it's locked, you know, I have not once, you know, worried about, you know, my gear getting stolen, whatnot. Someone would really have to like pry this glass off or break it. One thing, if you guys do get this cap, make sure, you know, when you're locking your stuff up, don't forget to lock your tailgate. Now, as far as the side doors, now this is the same with this one and the Adventure Series. The Goldwick style doors are awesome. The fact that they open up all the way, it really gives you a lot more, you know, room, and it just makes it feel a lot roomier than, you know, it might not really be. So, I mean, that's really cool. Might be a little bit gimmicky, but it's awesome. And, you know, with these gas struts, haven't had any issues with that at all. Now, even though I haven't been able to fully use this yet, but, you know, having a 700-pound static, you know, weight capacity, so when you're not moving, I think is awesome. And I think that's mainly due to the, you know, cross beams that go on the inside of the roof, and then also, you know, you do have a 330-pound dynamic, you know, weight capacity. This pro could also be a con for, you know, some guys that are waiting for this, but it's the fact that these are really hard to get now just due to the long back orders. So, you know, for me, I guess I'm looking at it on the bright side. If I were to resell this, or any other guys with the RSI caps, you'll probably end up selling it for, you know, whatever you paid for it, so you're not going to lose money on it. You could probably even like make some money on it. So, because they are so, you know, sought after. Now, to get into the cons and some of my pet peeves about the cap, we've already hit a lot of these on the FAQ. Number one, it leaks. So, you know, while I do know that I could potentially solve that by replacing seals and gaskets and all that jazz, I don't want to go through the hassle to do that. So I guess I'll just leave my stuff, you know, in the garage, and maybe not go out and leave, you know, stuff in here that I care about when it is, you know, a downpour out here. Also, because it does leak, it does build condensation inside the cap. So in the mornings and whatnot, you know, after a nice, you know, rainstorm, if you're getting in, can't really use a rear view mirror. So I do have some footage of that. I'll try and throw it up on the screen for you guys to see that. It's kind of frustrating. Now that also goes into, I would say, the side windows. For me, I believe that, you know, most of the, you know, leakage is coming from, you know, little windows, the seals and gaskets. For me, I haven't really used the windows, so for me it's a con. I know some of you guys might really enjoy them, but for me they have been pretty worthless for how I use the truck. Another big one is the availability of accessories. One of the really cool aspects of the RSI Smartcap is the fact that it is modular. You can really personalize it, with the camp kitchen, with the table on the inside, the drawer system. There's a lot of really cool stuff for it if you can get it. And I think that's really maybe not 100% at fault of RSI. It is the fact that these are so hard to come by and so sought after that a lot of those accessories, they just sell out really quickly, or they're on back order, for a year and whatnot. So again, maybe not 100% at fault with RSI. However, I will say that I do wish that the roof rails, that they weren't really proprietary to RSI, and that there was more readily available third-party support for this, which I think could be huge. Again, I do have a runner rack crossbar system coming, so those will work. But it's a bummer that the RSI crossbars, I believe, are like $260, $270. Runner rack's like $600, $700. So that's kind of a bummer. Also, huge con, not being able to open this from the inside. A lot of guys, how much money you're spending for this, will want to use this as an actual camper, being able to throw a mattress in and sleep in here. Can't really do that. What you could do is potentially just leave these guys in the back open. However, if you're camping with some buddies who are jokesters, they might lock you into your RSI Smartcap. So buyer beware on that note. I would imagine, because I have read also a lot of other guys having issues with these guys freezing, that they will be updating them. I would hope so, and then hopefully when they do that, they'll put a latch in that you can actually open from the inside. So we'll see if that happens in the future. And then finally, I don't know if this is really a con or a pro. It really depends on the individual, but it is a price. I feel like a lot of people, when you're spending this much money for a product for your truck, you're expecting it to be perfect. However, that's not the reality. I've worked in the aftermarket automotive space now for upwards to almost 15 years, and I can tell you that even like OEM products sometimes aren't perfect, and it's really hard to get a aftermarket product to be at the OEM quality. So with that being said, was it worth it? Would I buy it again? At that time, 100%. I would have gotten it again. I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of this guy. I've used it, I've abused it. Only difference I would have probably made is if I would have known that the Adventure Series was coming out, I probably would have held on for a few months and gotten the cap without the side windows, with just the solid panels, because I feel like that's a lot of my issues with this, and the leaking is coming from the windows. So that's my opinion. And also the Adventure Series is a few $100 cheaper, which is pretty awesome. Now that's it for my little FAQ, my little review, pros and cons, my opinions on the RSI Smartcap after using it for a full year. Now, if you made it all the way to the end and you aren't already, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be releasing a lot more videos on the Tacoma and also my wife's RAV4, and then there might be another truck coming onto the channel here very soon. And until next time, I hope you guys all stay healthy and safe, and we'll see ya.